frustrating boat.
I think that.
You're a feisty little one.
Hey guys, so I've been doing a bit of work today on the 3PO. I have got 4 days left. Well, probably about 5 because I've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday before Comic-Con. So today I painted up the arms and I put a bit of elastic on them just so they could wear them, but this isn't going to be how they are done for the final piece. But after painting, I've just gone over with some Windex and acrylic paint just to kind of give it a bit of dirtiness. And it's interesting because some of the parts of the droid look gold, but when I've put some burnt sienna and some brown, it kind of comes out with the right kind of tint of gold that I want. Probably got to add a bit of black to this as well, just because it needs a little bit more dirtying up. But the arms actually look quite good when they're on. So I'm just going to slip this on. Also made hands today and they look really cool. They fit on really good, and the fingers look amazing. So that's how the arm piece kind of goes. It's gonna have to be a little bit sort of puppeteered, and I say that because the way these pieces are, sitting on the outside of my arm is literally going to be exposed no matter what I do, so I will have to add some wiring to this. And my plan is just to have a bit of Velcro on both sides, and the wires will be attached to the Velcro, so when I wrap it over and stick it together, the wires will actually wrap around my arms. And even though I do have some wires painted on this suit, this will just kind of like camouflage my arm a bit more. Now I haven't tried this on with the torso piece, but so far you can see how it looks. So the detailing on the forearm looks quite good, I think. This little piece here kind of looks a little bit long when I have the hands, when I'm wearing the hand shells as well. It kind of, overlaps the wrist section a bit too much, but I'll just slip it on so you can see. So there's the hands, and I've just kind of given them a basic raw sienna weathering, and they look pretty much as they do in the movie, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm kind of really strapped for time, so I'm just gonna go as quickly as I can and do this as basically as I can. The hands are fairly easy to get on, but it's a bit awkward at first because you've got to try and get the thumb piece in. Once the thumb is on and the fingers are slipped on, the hand just goes on pretty easily, so it's very good. Now in the movie, 3PO's hands are often like just hanging down like this, so it's actually okay with the wrist piece being where it is, and I don't really think I can be bothered reconstructing the wrist on here, but as it is, I think it looks pretty good. I'm kind of keen to put the whole torso on with the arms and the suit just to see how it all looks as like a complete package, but so far I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing I haven't got are the struts, and I do have to construct a little runner, but I think I'm going to just focus on getting most of the costume put together and doing some wired styling and things like that, and then if I have time I'm going to add those parts in later. But at the moment I'm pretty happy with just the way this is looking. The gold, the dirtiness of bringing out that kind of dirty gold metal look is actually really good. It's probably a bit better in real life than you can see on the video, but the only other thing I have to do is just add like a little cap piece here. Is on the droid in the movie, he has a bit of it looks like a bit of a circuit board thing, but I'm not gonna go overboard with that. I was thinking of putting some little magnets in here for that to clip on, and I was gonna have the wires protruding from the wrist, and then having the little plug that just sits on there, but I don't know if that's going to be strong enough, so I might just build something. Maybe I'll have like a piece of Velcro in there or something just to stick it on, but those things I'm not too sure about how I'm going to do yet. So there's a few little issues that I'm facing with attachments. Like with the arms, I think Velcro is probably the simplest because it's, like I said, I can like I said, with the Velcro, that's probably the best and simplest method. I don't really want to have to be trying to navigate my hand through straps and things, and I also didn't want elastic because then that's going to be visible. I kind of want to avoid that at all costs. So black Velcro with some wires attached and just wrapped around would actually probably look the best. One thing that I don't really like is the way that the shoulders sit. They are a little bit uncomfortable, and they're a little bit sort of, the diameter of them is a little bit small to fit over my shoulder, like neatly and snugly, but you know, I think it's not too bad. I can get away with that. So the legs, I rebuilt. So I'll just show you my old leg. Previously I built these, and they kind of went over my calf on both sides, and they just looked too chunky and too fat, and I just couldn't handle it. So I spoke to a few of my friends for ideas, and I ended up coming up with just a really simplistic beam that I have that runs down the front of my shin, and it's just contoured enough on the inside so that it just kind of fits right over the shin bone, which is really good. I've made these knee joints just connected solidly to that, which is really easy. And one of them I've already put elastic on just to try it on, and it's really comfortable and lightweight, and it just sits there. And one of the things that I had to do to redesign this was change this panel, because it's actually on the inside on the puppet, and on the outside it's more wires, but because of the way that I've had to build this to fit over my leg, it's actually, there's less contour on the outside, so I managed to just put these pieces on the outside. I can just style in with some wiring. Did forget to put some detailing on there, so I might have that later, but like I said, I'm gonna be really flat out trying to get this finished by Sunday, so I think I'm gonna just stick with it as it is. Fortunately, the legs of the Naked C3PO are not super visible, so hopefully no one really notices the changes, but you know, like I've said a million times before, I'm building something that's actually a puppet to fit a person, so you know, there are going to have to be some changes made to make this all work together. Also, when I had this, I did sort of experiment having this calf shield piece on the inside. It also just didn't look right because it kind of made my leg more visible on the outside. So I thought by putting the panel on the outside of the leg and then having all the wiring on the inside, it just, you know, visually it will just look a little bit more realistic rather than having my leg exposed on the outside. So that's why I did that. So I've just got like a little ankle piece that fits directly over my ankle bone, which is perfect. And yeah, these just sit on my legs like really well, and they look pretty good. The other reason I changed my mind and did that was building that little channel beam thing that goes over my shin bone. It helps to kind of draw your focus away from the fact that there's a leg inside. It's a bit like how I've done this, you know, once I'm wearing a black suit and there's some wires and stuff on there, you'll really, mostly your eyes will probably just mostly focus on the silver part. So you'll kind of just, you know, the black suit will kind of just disappear, and I really wanted to make those legs look as thin as possible. And I did consider painting my suit so that my legs had the details painted on, and I did consider using EVA foam to sort of build out pieces on my leg on the suit, but then I thought I'd rather have something that's a little bit more structured, and it's like the same material as the rest, so it just kind of has a little bit more uniformity. Another thing that I did try and decide to do, I decided to add the knee joints directly to the calf. so that was one piece, because the hip pieces are a little bit more complicated than I ever imagined. So I built this, on the left side he has this sort of weird, like, sort of wing-shaped boxy thing. So I kind of built that, and I ended up having to modify to make it a bit smaller because the hip circles, hip joints are actually the same diameter as the knees. And so when I made those the same size, it actually took away a lot of the space that I had to have this fitting in as well. So as it stands now, it's got to be like, well, I think the total length is about 40 centimeters. So that worked out not too badly. This section here comes right down close to the knee joint. So when I'm wearing it, it's probably, it looks something like that. It's about that close. So I think it's okay, but I still haven't quite figured out how I'm going to attach this. I think I might have the hip piece just like hooked on with a bit of elastic and maybe like some sort of attachment point on the inside of the hip panel. But then this front section here, I probably will do the same with the Velcro. I'll wrap Velcro around here, and I'll have all the wires and stuff attached to the Velcro and attached somewhere. I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but the legs are really, really thick with wires, so this panel here just kind of sits out. So this panel will sit out off my thigh, and then I've got to basically dress my thighs completely with wires. So if I have a Velcro piece that wraps around here, that'll make this piece able to just be put on and off really, really simply. It's a bit complicated, and thinking about how I'm going to wear the suit and how I'm going to put it on, take it off, all that sort of stuff, it's kind of actually becoming a bit more complex than I ever imagined. You know, the challenges I had with the torso and adding the wires and creating different layers and having things attached to certain parts was a lot easier by comparison for what I have to do now, because I'm really trying to camouflage my legs and make these really thin pieces look correct, as anatomically correct as I can. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but I think I'll be able to figure it out somehow. But tomorrow I'm going to go buy some Velcro, and I'm going to have to just get really busy putting all the wires and stuff together. So yeah, I just have to paint the hips, the thigh pieces as well. So I kind of just created my own different thing for the right hand thigh, because they're not actually symmetrical, they're not the same on both sides, and the right hand side doesn't have a lot of images showing what it looks like. I do have one image that shows some weird structure thing, but I thought I would just keep the shape basically the same, and then I just added some detailing on there because, like I said, I'm running out of time and I just sort of don't really care anymore. So there is a lot of differences, like symmetrical differences, or the symmetry is different on both sides. I may have shown this before. The forearms are completely different to each other, which kind of makes me wonder if the reason they did that was because Anakin Skywalker possibly found multiple droids and used parts of different models to build 3PO. So I'm going to go with that idea, but yeah, this one here is a bit different to this, but they both look really good, and they fit quite well. And the mobility is pretty good as well, which is I'm quite happy about. So yeah, anyway, that's what I've got to do. I've just got to basically finish off the thigh pieces, add a bit more weathering. I've got to just add all the wires on and figure out how I'm going to attach all of these parts. One other little thing that I've got to do is on the top of these shoulder joint things, there's meant to be a whole lot of wires that come out of this and then they go and tuck into the shoulder ring. So I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. I did think of using a neodymium magnet and having all the wires attached to that so that you can just sort of insert it and it will self-locate and hold all those wires in there, because they kind of come out like pigtails and they've got quite a lot of volume, and then they just have to slip in there. And another idea I have is just using Velcro and having like a strip of Velcro with the wires all kind of glued on, strategically placed, and then just stick the Velcro in. But that's also, I don't know how that will look, but I think as I go through, I'll just figure that stuff out when I have to. But yeah, at the moment the plan is just keep working on this. Yeah, if I have time to make the struts, I will, but they're a bit challenging, and I'm not quite sure how easy the struts will be to make functional on this arm, because especially with my left arm, because I've had surgery, so my arm doesn't actually move in a nice linear kind of fashion. So this joint is kind of like a bit skewed. You can kind of see, this is a bit difficult to show you, but you can kind of see how like non-linear that is. It kind of goes up on a bit of an angle. I think it would probably be okay, but having the slide rail thing may not function the way it's supposed to. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do in that instance if that doesn't work. But yeah, but clearly I've got quite a bit to do. I don't know if I'm going to bother adding wiring inside the hand. I might just stick with the wires here. I could just paint a few little wires just to take away the look of the elastic a little bit, but I don't think that they look that too bad, to be honest. And I could probably just add some painted detail on the gloves of my suit and just be done with it. But yeah, the palm of the hand is going to be basically open. There's not a lot of pictures of 3PO's hand, and I don't think that's really super important, so I'm just going to leave that. And also, due to being time poor, I'm just going to stick with like completing as much of the major stuff that I possibly can, and then go back and revisit little details if I have to. But anyway, so that's where I'm up to. I have to just keep going, and I'll update you all as soon as I can.
Bye bye.